Hey, what's up guys? Titanium Demps here at TrueFit Bootcamp with another TrueFit formula for you guys. All right, today we're going to be going over one of the hardest lifts to master in the Olympic lifts and the lifts that we do here at TrueFit, and it's the overhead squat. All right, to do that, all you're going to need is one of these PVC pipes. Very simple, very inexpensive to grab at Home Depot if you don't have them at your gym. I highly suggest do not try or practice this with a bar before you have mastered the form and the technique with something like this. You can even get the broomstick handle. All right, so first things first, our girls are gonna demonstrate how do you find your overhead squat grip. And all they're gonna do is do a slight bend in their hip. They're gonna push that PVC pipe into their hip there. They're gonna take their hands wide and lock their elbows out. They're gonna go ahead and stand nice and tall. Then they're gonna shrug their shoulders to their ears, nice and high, and then they're going to do what we call a pass-through. So they're going to go all the way up and over without bending their elbows. So give me 3 of those so they see that. All right, they shrug up and over, all the way around, and all the way back, up and over, all the way around, all the way back. So let's say that you're somebody who's not able to do this. All you have to do is take your hands a little bit wider onto that. This is not only good to find your overhead squat position, but it's just a great thoracic stretch, a shoulder stretch to kind of create more mobility to be able to do this move and other moves that we do here. So they have their overhead grip, so we're going to go ahead and say, go ahead and put that right over your head. All right, so look at them. They've been trained. They already go right to their position. So relax, because I want these girls are trying to do everything perfect. Do it bad for a little bit. All right, good. All right, so right now they have relaxed shoulders, and we're going to go into what I call an active shoulder move. So go ahead and active shoulders, then shrugging up. All right, so they both have their shoulders nice and shrugged towards their ears. Now, if you notice on Marissa here, where are her biceps facing? They're facing forward, right? And she kind of have this rotation in her arm there. That's going to be really bad when I start to put weight over her head. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to tell her to do is to rotate her armpits right there so they're forward. A good thought is to think of screwing in a light bulb. That turn that you would do with your hand right there, that's the position that you want to be in. Still totally engaged. Her chest is up nice and high. She's active. So let's go ahead and look at the footwork. So we're going to have them shoulder width apart, a little bit wider, and their toes are going to turn slightly out. Now, all they have to do is go down to the floor, straight down, chest up. Great. So these girls are great because they have 2 wonderful examples of the overhead squat or some issues that you guys may run into. So if we're looking at Sanam, well, let's come over and look at Marissa first. We're going to look at some corrections. Go ahead and stand up, Sanam. So a couple of things that you guys may find at your gym or with yourself. If you look at Marissa, she kind of has this inward angle on her knee. All right, that's not good. We don't want that. What we want to do is have her knee over. You see what just happened? As she did that, her hips rose, all right, because she's not going to be able to maintain that with her hips, all right? So that's about where I want her to go. I don't want her to go anywhere further below that if her knees start to cave in, okay? Because that's not a stable position. She's not going to be very strong there. And go ahead and stand up. I know you're getting a little tired. If I put her under load, that weight is going to push her down, and she's going to collapse, break, or she's going to start to tear some ligaments and tendons inside of this, and it's not going to be good for her. 2, you see how wide her toes are turned out. This again is from tight calves and ankles and some hip mobility issues that you kind of saw as she was going down into that squat. So she has to compensate by opening her hips really wide because close together, they're really tight. She's got those tight hip flexors. Now, Marissa lifts every day. She's got a lot of hip flexion and extension, so these things kind of get wadded up and really tight and kind of expected over time if you're not doing the proper stretches to kind of keep that active. So let's go over to Sanam and we'll kind of look at what kind of like that straight fixed structure is going to look like. So as Sanam goes straight down, boom, you notice her knees are tracing right over her ankles there. Now, if you come around to the back of her, let's look at where this is. So her back is nice and straight. This is what we want to see and maintain. The PVC pipe is behind her head. She's nice and tall. She's setting in the bottom. This is great, okay? Go ahead and stand nice and tall. Good. Now go right back down so they can kind of see a couple of those reps. Stand nice and tall. Right back down and nice and tall. Good. So this is going to be the perfect way to kind of go into your overhead squat. where people are gonna run into problems, where you're gonna run into problems is gonna be trying to maintain that thoracic extension, keeping that arm right over your head. So what I like to do is give me a bad forward lean. All right. As somebody comes down, they're going to do one of two things. To keep that bar behind their head, they're going to over rotate and overextend this bar behind their head to kind of keep that bar behind. And this is just really bad for the shoulders for obvious reasons. Two, if they don't do that, as she goes down, this bar and her chest is going to drop forward. So go ahead to that bad forward position, and then you see how her chest is drooping down. All right, we're going to give you stretches to do on a couple of different videos to show you how to fix this. But again, you don't want to force yourself to be able to do this exercise just to do it for the sake of doing it, because you're going to run into a lot of injury. So make sure that as you guys are doing this, your chest is nice and high, and you're going through that. So what I would do, I do this at my gym. You have two options. You can stand in front of a wall, which will be a good sign for you guys to, you can tell whether you get closer or away from the wall. So when Sanam goes to that overhead squat, if the wall was right here and she goes down, if she started to lean forward, she's going to push into that wall, and she knows, hey, something's wrong with my form. I need to stop and fix that. All right. Or two, I could literally stand in front of her and I would do that same squat. And even though she really wants to kiss me, she's not. She's going to try to get away from me. As she's doing that squat, she's not going to want to squat into my face. She's going to be able to tell when she's getting close and when she's getting out. So if you have a buddy at home, say, hey, let's do this overhead squat together. We're going to squat all the way down and squat all the way nice and tall. And if you guys start kissing, then you know, hey, somebody's doing something wrong. Or they're doing something right. I don't know. It's up to you. All right, so those are just quick, basic overview on how to do the overhead squat. But again, it's so technical that there is going to be a lot of different efficiency tips that I'll give you on future videos. Right now, we're just looking for the basic standard setup with a PVC pipe. So go ahead, try this at home. Grab a partner, say, hey, check me out. Look from the side. Make sure you're active. And if you find that you have issues in your hip mobility, in your ankle mobility, in your shoulder mobility, go ahead and look at the videos below, and we'll give you those fixes to that particular issue. All right, there you have it. This has been your TrueFit Formula, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.